Hey Eurovision fans, today I'm doing my deep dive analysis of Benidorm Fest 2025, that's Spain's national final. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the state of the national final, who are the potential contenders to win, my top 10 and your top 10. So let's kiki. Hi, my name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So in case you didn't see, I did my reaction video to all 16 songs. I posted that last night. This is the accompanying video where I do my deeper dive, talking about what's going on and who could potentially win. So first of all, let's start with my general thoughts about Benidorm Fest. Let's start off with the positive. This graphic art is amazing. Absolutely gorgeous, stunning, vibrant, very bold. It feels related to previous Benidorm Fest art, but it's a little bit different. I absolutely love the graphic with all of the artists. They're so beautiful and colorful. I also love how they film the artists and then frame them with these really vibrant red, orange, yellows, or shades of blue. Total win. We've got the little icons this year, which are very iconic. For Benidorm Fest, each person gets a different icon representing something. Really fun way to represent the artist. And I think the graphic identity is a huge part of Benidorm Fest. Another positive thing is the changes in the format. This year, we aren't going to know the results of the semi-finals. That's really good. It makes the final more exciting. In previous years, we knew the winners of the semi-finals and the final ended up being the winner of semi-final 1 versus the winner of semi-final number 2. We're not going to have that this year. So it's going to be more exciting in the final. There's going to be more tension. I think there'll be less rivalries as well between those two people because you know who the top two are going to be. So it's Team A versus Team B. We've also got a new voting system. Last year, the voting numbers were really low. Nebulasa had 4,484 votes in a country of 48 million. That is just way too low. So they're changing the voting system. I think they're making it cheaper and easier to vote this year. So hopefully we should see those numbers go up and get a representation of what the whole of Spain is feeling as opposed to one small community. Okay, so what do I think about Benidorm Fest itself? I gotta admit, I think it's a pretty weak year. This is the 4th year I've covered Benidorm Fest. I've covered all 4 of them. For me, this is the weakest one at this point in time. Now, keep in mind, Benidorm Fest really has this tradition for people stepping up, just absolutely coming to life when they show us their live show and the visual component of their package. So I'm keeping that in mind. But this is the first year where I have not downloaded a song after doing my review. Usually there's 1 or 2 that are stuck in my head. Last year it was San Pedro. I downloaded it immediately after doing my review, listened to it a bunch and fell in love with it. This year, I have not downloaded any songs. None of them excite me at all. That's a slightly disappointing feeling for me because one of the things I love from doing these national final reviews is getting more music onto my playlist. My issue with the national final this year is that it feels extremely one-dimensional. We are getting a lot of songs from one genre, this kind of girly bop, Europop, club. It's pretty pervasive throughout the whole national final. It feels like an album almost. It feels like Benidorm Fest is one 16-song album, one producer, one musical person with a couple of small variations. So little variation in genre. There's no rap, there's no rock, there's no alternative, there's no indie, there's no folky stuff. There's really just, we've got a lot of club pop, girly bop pop. Now, if you love that type of music, I'd say you're in heaven. And I have seen some people on Twitter who are just absolutely loving this. Now I have hypotheses, plural, for why this might be happening. These are just musings. I'm not saying they're definitely correct. They're just thoughts. If you have any more information, of course, as always, you can leave me a comment down below educating me. I want to know what's going on. I want to know the truth about what's happening behind closed doors at Benidorm Fest. But this is what I think might be happening. The first big point is the Benidorm Fest audience. They're very passionate, they're very open and vocal with their passion and who they prefer. I think the Benidorm Fest audience has a huge sway over who wins. The reality is that the jury is in the arena and the audience, crowd of people, are facing them and they're very vocal with who they support, which is great, but I do feel like that influences the jury and it intimidates them. I gotta be real, if I was a jury on that panel sitting across from, I don't know how many people who are shouting for Nebulasa, I would have put them top 2 last year, just from the sheer pressure of, wow, this is what everyone in the room wants. I'm going to do it because I don't want to get mobbed. Personally, I wouldn't have put Nebulasa in my top 4 last year. I thought they were good, but I just thought there were other better songs that would have been better at Eurovision. But yes, if I was on that jury, I would have caved to the pressure because the jurors are anonymous in that they're jury 1, 2, 3, 4, but people can work it out. Because the jury is pure maths, you can literally work out if someone bombed someone. So if I had given Nebulasa a bad score, you could literally work it out that they didn't win because of me. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of getting online harassment from a bunch of anonymous profiles online. You may think that sounds ridiculous. Deben and William still get harassment about what happened in Romania in 2019. That was over 5 years ago. Literally just doing their job. They were asked to come in and rank which songs they liked the most. They did. I actually agreed with what they ranked as well. So yes, there are definitely people in our community who will bully juries if they don't like what they pick. So I think that the audience has a huge influence over that. I think if you're an artist watching the show, you're going to go, wow, unless that audience likes me, I have no chance of winning. Now, again, this is a hypothesis. If you disagree, please let me know your opinion. I'm very curious to know what you think. I'm not pontificating that this is what the situation is. I'm wondering, how has Benidorm Fest come to be what it is this year? So if I was someone watching Benidorm Fest, I would go, okay, I'm probably not going to be interested in entering unless I'm something that that audience likes. And it does seem that like when that majority gets behind one song, they really get focused on it, and that's what they want. Many Spanish fans telling me this year and last year, they don't care about results about Eurovision. They just want something they love. That's absolutely fine. But I do think there are other people in Spain outside of this community who maybe want to get a good result or want to see something different. I, for one, want to see Spain get a good result. I want to see Spain win. And this year is a step backwards in my opinion, whereas I felt 22, 23, I felt was that Spain was at such a great stage. And then 24, I felt a small dip. And this year I feel a big dip now. Huge lack of variety, a lack of originality, giving a very one-dimensional view of what the Spanish music scene is. Now, is this what the Spanish music scene is? I don't think so, because Benidorm Fest 22 and 23 had more variety. But at this moment in time, with audio only, no visuals, I'm just seeing too much of the same note. Now, my second mini hypothesis, and again, please do inform me if I'm wrong about this, is about the artistic direction of the show. So in 22 and 23, we had Eva Mora as the head of Spanish delegation. And in 24 and 25, we've had Ana Maria Bordas, who also does Junior Eurovision as well. I've tried to do a lot of research in this. I've searched a lot. I don't speak fluent Spanish, so I can't read all the Spanish articles. I've talked to a lot of Spanish Euro fans and tried to get them to give me information. My understanding is that Eva Moore was doing a great job in 22 and 23, and there was some backroom politics, and essentially Eva Moore got pushed out. I'm trying to say this in the most unalleged way possible because this all sounds kind of like backroom gossip, but this is what Spanish Eurofans have told me. My understanding is that Ana Maria Bordas has never had a good result at Eurovision. She was previously head of delegation, and I think she always came bottom 5. And then now she was bottom 5 last year, never lost that. And then I'm not saying that Spain are going to be bottom 5 this year because we haven't even seen the visual packages yet. But I don't think this is a particularly great starting point. I'm super curious about this. Spanish people, please tell me what is going on. But yeah, I felt like Eva Mora was on a really fantastic trajectory. From what I've heard, super hardworking, very diligent. She had a very dedicated team with her. And it seems that she was ousted for some reason, whatever that was. Aya didn't flop. Aya has this reputation for being a total flop. It didn't do well in the televote, but it came 17th. 17th is not that bad. I think a lot of countries would be pretty okay with coming 17th out of 37 countries. That's in the top half. It's not like they came 25th or something. They were quite far away from the bottom 5. Especially considering between 2015 and 2021, Spain had 6 finishes in a row that were in the 20s, so 21st or worse, including a last place with Manel Navarro. Compared to that, I think 17th is actually pretty good, and coming top 10 with the jury as well. So yeah, look, in any case, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I definitely feel in the last 2 years, Benidorm Fest has lost some of its veneer. I've always been kind of excited. This is one of the big exciting national finals. I'm going to stop saying that now because this for me is the weakest national final this year. I think if you look at Festival Congress and consider all of the songs, Festival Congress has more filler. But if you take the 16 best songs of Festival Congress and then Benidorm Fest, I think Festival Congress is stronger. And so is Monte's song. Okay, let's talk about some of the contenders to win. And at this point in time, I'm sorry I keep going on about it, but things are going to change. I think there are 3 people who are on the running to win. So these contenders are based on my own personal opinions, the Eurovision scoreboard, people who left comments in the comment section of my reaction video. Thank you to everybody who left me comments. And also looking at people on social media. The first of those is Carla Frigo. I was a little bit unlucky that I listened to this first, but actually of all the girly bops this year, this has got one of the freshest feels. I really like the production. It feels very light, has a kind of cool, almost futuristic feel. Little bit repetitive throughout the song. I was hoping there'd be a few more undulations, but that's definitely something that she can bring live with her vocal or change ups in the scenery and the dancing. I wish I'd listened to this later because it would have contrasted better. Instead, I was unlucky with my running order and I got one of the best songs first. I wanted to elevate on stage, to give us something a little bit unexpected and fresh. Just give us something that shows that she's really thinking a lot of effort is put into this. And yeah, I can definitely see her being a contender to win. The second person I think is in with a shot is Jacobello, VIP. Now, we've never had a male vocalist win. Obviously, one half of Nebulosa was a man, but he was in the back and he wasn't doing the singing. We've always had a female vocalist win. Now, that's only 3 times out of 3, but again, I do think it fits in with the Benidorm audience definitely having a strong affinity for these powerful ladies. Jacobello, could he break that streak? Could he show that a man can also win the hearts of the Benidorm Fest audience? You wouldn't think it would be that hard for a man to win their hearts. For me, he's got the most complete finished song. This song sounds the least like a demo. It sounds complete, it sounds like it's finished. I think it could still be elevated with a revamp, but it sounds like a finished package to me. Now, what's he going to bring on stage? I have no idea. I haven't heard anyone talking about him, whether he's a good performer or not. We've had so many instances of great songs like Mi Familia coming onto stage by Fusa Nocta and just flopping. We've also had songs which people were kind of sleeping on, like Chanel Slow-Mo, being elevated like crazy. So it does feel kind of boom or bust with Benidorm Fest sometimes. Like, he could come on stage and just absolutely kill it, and then all of us are going to like, this is the obvious one, send him. He could get Spain a pretty decent result. But yeah, this is the one I was most inclined to download. It was the one I thought had good hooks. I think it'll be hard to make this an interesting staging because it's about being in the club. So what can you kind of do that hasn't been done before in the Eurovision world? How can you make it original? That's his problem to work out. Hopefully he's got some good ideas and a good team behind him. And the third person I think is a strong contender is La Chispa. This is really, really popular in the community. People are talking about this being the flamenco fusion of their dreams. They're really loving this mix up between this kind of soft beginning into this this very angsty chorus, which could be representing her depression, anxiety, which the song is about. I think this song is very, very interesting. I gotta admit, I'm struggling to see why the casual fans in Eurovision would react so poorly to Blanca in the televote, but they would be okay with La Chispa. Again, some fans say they don't care about the results. Okay, that's fine. Let's put that to the side. Other people do care about how Spain's results. I don't understand why one would be kind of rejected and the other one wouldn't. I loved Blanca Paloma. I was Team Blanca until the end, worshipping at Queen Paloma's feet. And I was very devastated with that result. I found La Chispa's course quite jarring if you saw that reaction video. And I'm a big Eurovan. I have a lot of patience for hearing all of these songs. I listened to all 16 of them. Most casual Eurofans aren't going to give an F. If they hear one thing that they find distasteful, they're switching off and they're out of the room. And we saw that with Blanca Paloma. And for me, La Chispa sounds a little bit harsher than Blanca does. I still like the song, don't get me wrong. I think it's good, but I'm not 99% of people who are voting in Eurovision. I'm part of that minority 1% who are pretty loud, but also in the minority. So yeah, I'm rooting for her. I'm hoping that she can make it sound a little bit more of a flow on the stage. This has huge fan support right now. Could this be the song that Benidorm Fest crowd are chanting for? I do think these artists need to come into the final and kind of win the crowd over, because once you've won the crowd over, you pretty much swayed the jury as well, because the jury are terrified of being mobbed and bullied online for the rest of their lives. So yeah, I think that's not a bad strategy in Benidorm Fest, is win the crowd over. You know, last year with Nebulosa, bring on the dancers with the butts. That definitely won some hearts. So I think that the artists do need to consider that with the staging. And that's with all national finals. All national finals have particular characteristics that you should kind of cater to. You know, some finals have super finals, some have particular sets, some have an orchestra. So you have to tailor your strategy based on what national final you're in. Let's take a quick look at some of the other categories. We have my sad boy section: David Afonso, Henry Semler, Lucas Byrne. I gotta admit, these kind of feel like kind of making up the male numbers because this is a very female dominated national final. I don't think these three guys are really bringing anything special. I think you saw in my Lucas Byrne reaction how hard I was trying to like it. And I do like the concept of it, but the delivery's not. All three of these guys, I love the concept. The delivery just is not there. So I don't think the sad boys are going to compete unless they massively elevate like Chanel did, but that would be a surprise. We have our girly box section. This is the main section in Benidorm Fest this year. I've already spoken about Carla Frigo, who I think is the front runner in that section. We've got Melody, who I think her specialty could be how good her voice is. I've been told she's really, really strong vocally. Those vocals we heard in the song, she can produce those live. Now, if she does that, that could be the thing that makes her stand out. That could be her secret weapon. Who's going to come with the biggest secret weapon in Benidorm Fest this year? So she's a definite contender if she converts. Daniela Blasco, I thought she had a cool sound as well, kind of like something a little bit different. Kingdom, very much not Chantera. I think for me it feels too derivative from Not Chantera, but people love Not Chantera. So could that crowd get really involved in this? Sonia and Selena singing Reignas. This is just a bygone era in my opinion. Nothing wrong with having nostalgia. Nebulosa was very nostalgic, but it worked. This doesn't work as much for me. And I also felt Nebulosa had a fantastic meaning behind the song. Dira la Copa and the whole story behind it was fabulous. I wish they'd shown that more in the Eurovision stage. They didn't explain the story of the song. So of this category, I'm looking at for Melody and Daniela. Okay, let's go to our Thinky ladies. These ladies are doing something a little bit different. Now, I've already spoken about La Chispa. She's definitely the leader in this category. But we've also got Celine Van Heel doing something a little bit different with her salsa song. We have De Teresa, which I very much liked in my reaction, and I didn't like it as much when I was editing. But it's different. I think I said this was the trippy mushroom song. If she brings something very interesting and unusual on stage, that can definitely elevate. Mel Omana as well, giving something just a little bit unusual. I think that was the song. She's from Canary Islands and she was bringing some Afro beats. I like that these ladies in the contest just mixing it up a little bit. Which of them is going to step up? I think that's pretty much everybody. Do you see how few categories there are? It's kind of like sad boys, thinky girls, girly bops, done. It's just like there's not very much variety here at all. Okay, let's go to my top three. And I gotta be honest, I really struggled to have a top three. My top two are quite clear. And then after that, I struggled to kind of pick a third person. My number three is Mel Omana. I like this. I thought it was something a little bit different. I gotta be honest, I don't even remember that much of it now. I really only remember my top two quite clearly. And also I do remember La Chispa quite clearly as well. She left a good impression on me. She was varying it up. She had some interesting sounds. I think this has potential to be something interesting on the stage. My number two spot is Carla Frigo. I think this is the best girly bop. If the visual can match the sound and be cool and fresh, this could be a slick package. And then that means my number one is Jake Bello. This is the song I was closest to downloading. I didn't. It has the most hooks for me. I think it would be interesting for Spain to send a man. I'm going to be curious to see, are the Benidorm Fest audience going to get behind a male artist? Maybe they will. Benidorm Fest, we've only had 4 of them so far, but I'm going to be really interested to see, will the crowd support this? Can he win them over? Does he have to win them over? Keep in mind, the crowd didn't want Chanel in 2022. And then when she won, they bullied her off social media. She closed down her social media account because she was not the chosen one. That is how aggressive some of the fans are. Not all the fans are like this. Not all, but this is the nature of the internet. A small minority really can have a lot of power in bullying someone off the internet. Okay, so those are my top 3. Let's check out your top 3. I can't remember who's your top 3. I think it's La Chispa. It did change a lot now. I was watching it at the start and it was Carla Frigo for quite a bit. And now number 1 is La Chispa. So she's got a pretty decent lead right now, around 700 points over Carla Frigo. And Jacob Bello is in 3rd. So that's a pretty good sign that he's doing well with the Eurovision community. I think there's a strong correlation between the Eurovision scoreboard and the Benidorm Fest crowd. I think they tend to appreciate similar sounds and artists. You can see here now of this top 10, there's one man and all the rest are female vocalists. Now, I will admit, I don't think the male vocalists are stepping up this year. Do the male vocalists want to enter though when they know that the crowd gets behind female artists? It's chicken and egg. Or is it just a coincidence? Is there just no good male Spanish artist music in Spain? I don't know. But if you look at the bottom half here now, 4 of the bottom 5 are the men. In the 4th place, Melody. 5th place, Daniela Blasco. 6th place, Celine Van Heel. Okay, so that's interesting with her salsa song up quite high. And in 7th place, De Teresa. That's what I thought. I had a lot of opinions there. Again, I'm not set in stone with this. If you know information, I'm totally up to being persuaded. Leave me a comment. I'm always listening. I'm always developing and reevaluating what I think. These are my current thoughts, not written in stone. persuade me differently. Thank you so much to EC Head and Myra for supporting me on buying me coffee. And of course, thank you to all my wonderful patrons who are patronizing me from all around the world. If you want to join my Patreon, you can do a 1-week free trial. You can get the ad-free videos, some early releases. You can get the full national final videos. Go check it out. But of course, thank you so much just for being here. And I hope to see you in another Eurovision national final analysis video very soon. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah.